And after a jam-packed first hour, I'm now joined on the studio and live on Facebook by Fraser Watson, even Gordon Thomas, blurring your names up there this evening, gentlemen. How are you doing, Fraser?
Yeah, very good, Tom. Just come down from the Indoor League in Neyland, the second round of the A-League fixtures there. Comfortable win for the hosts and the favourites Neyland Day in the first game, 130 for 4, beat Narberth 94 all out. So that's underway down there tonight.
Happening right now as we speak. And there's something else happening right now as we speak. We'll get back to that in just a second. But Gordon, how are you doing?
I'm very good, mate. I had a good weekend. I actually managed to get out this weekend after last week's deluge of rain. Managed to go down and watch a little bit of Goodwick play Clarkson Road, and Goodwick won 3-0, and unbelievably they haven't conceded a goal in the league this season so far.
Oh, wow.
And sitting pretty at the top of the table. And then I popped to Haverfordwest and Pembrokeshire Quins in a game there at Merlin's Bridge, and Haverfordwest comprehensively beat the Quins 53-10. But I have to feel a little bit sorry for the Quins. They could only field a bare 15, but they did fulfil the fixture.
Yeah, I suppose with this competition that's going around pre the league starting in November, there were a few mismatches which have come up on the show a few times. Fraser, you caught up with St David's player coach. Swings and roundabouts with this tournament, isn't it? With the players playing different teams at the moment.
Yes, but actually I thought Getting spoke very well in terms of what the tournament has brought to a club like St David's. And, you know, at first there were eyebrows raised for obvious reasons. There looked like a couple of mismatches on paper, and the WLU play bowl traditionally you can play one game and be out of it, and then it's going to concentrate on the league. But these are different times, and the WLU have been a bit pragmatic here, and it has allowed teams to get into a rhythm, to get their squads back together, to build some momentum, to try some new players ahead of the league season in November, which we all know is going to be a shortened season. So yes, well, the competition would have benefited some more than others. I think it has given teams a chance to almost have a pre-season which they've been robbed of, and will lead them into the league campaign. So I think it's actually been a good idea on the whole.
Fantastic, and certainly St David's were definitely proponents of that. I mentioned that we've got live scores from the Indoor Cricket League going on, but you've also got something else that's live playing at the moment, haven't you, Fraser?
Yes, Wales out in Estonia, crucial game after that draw on Friday, of course, and drew with Estonia at home, but actually 1-0 up away. Kiefer Moore from, well, Gordon might, I say half a yard, Gordon might say less, but we'll take the ball having drawn a blank against these at home. So Wales currently 1-0 up in that crucial game, yeah.
Fantastic, and Narberth Joe Allen featuring again.
Yeah, I'm playing well actually, very well on Friday. Best performance I've seen since he returned from injury in a Welsh shirt. So hopefully that's a sign he's come back to his best. It was a long time out, wasn't it?
Fantastic. Well, his partnership with Aaron Ramsey in the Euros was iconic. Back where in France, as it were. But over the weekend, keeping international, there was a bit of a boxing match going on the weekend. Gordon, you stayed up and watched it.
Well, I actually got up in the early hours of Sunday morning, much to the surprise of my wife. I think she must have thought I was carrying on, but I wasn't. I was going downstairs to go and watch the boxing, and fair play, I'm glad I got up. It was one of the best heavyweight fights that I've ever seen. I mean, it was the third fight between the pair. They drew the first one, and Wilder actually kept the belt because he was the champion at the time. The second one, we all know that Fury won that, but he got knocked down, and we thought he was never going to get up, but he got up to win it. And then the third one was probably the best out of the three. Fury knocked down Wilder in the third round. And at that point, I thought it was just going to be next round he'll finish him off. But Wilder then came back at Fury, and he put him down twice in the fourth round. And at that point, I really did think that Fury was down and out. He isn't going to get out of this. But fair play to the man. He came back and he boxed very clever and used his reach and weight very well. And in the 10th round, he floored Wilder, who was basically out on his feet by then. He'd given everything he could, and then he finished him off in the 11th round to gain a KO and retain his belts. Fair play, the man is the best around, definitely, in my humble opinion. And AJ would have problems if he came out to fight him at this moment in time.
So Fraser, Gordon's opinion, he's one of the best at the moment. What are your thoughts?
I think he goes down. He stands as the best heavyweight fighter of his generation right now. where he stands in terms of history or in terms of the all-time British heavyweights. I'm not quite so sure yet. He's beaten Deontay Wilder twice now over 3 fights, and of course Vitaly Klitschko as well, with Klitschko having been king of that division for so long beforehand. You can't discount that. He probably needs a few more names on there of elite fighters, I'd say. The long-awaited fight with Anthony Joshua as well is going to be put back again now, and I don't think we're ever going to get it in the way we envisaged, with both fighters in their prime going for a unification bouts. But having said that, there's been so much build-up to it. I think there will always be a gap in Fury CV if he doesn't now fight Joshua. So I think if he is to fight Joshua and beat him, and of course Alexander Usyk at some point, he was so impressive in beating Joshua the other night as well, then, you know, really stands him in good stead and puts him amongst the debate of the all-time greats, I think. But, you know, for now, just to appreciate him in this current era, he is the best around. You look at what he's got, his movement, he's so awkward to face. He can combine that as well. He's got speed for a big man. He's elusive, and it's interesting to look at how he gets beaten now, because the one way Deontay Wilder can beat you is to knock you out. And, you know, as Gordon alluded to, he knocked him down twice, I think, in that first fight. He knocked down another 2 times. He's taken the punches from the hardest hitter in the game, and he's got back up from it. You know, so even though his defense is so watertight, we now see even if you do get through that defense, he's got the guts and the fortitude to recover from it. So it's very hard to see who he's beaten.
His resilience and his tenacity in getting back up from those big hits is quite remarkable. And I do worry, if there was to be an AJ fight, AJ doesn't seem to have as powerful a punch as Deontay. How would he beat Fury?
I thought there was a lot of criticism for Joshua for not throwing caution to the wind against Usyk. I think Usyk is a much better boxer than people gave him credit for. He's very difficult to face. It was whether he could do it at heavyweight level as well as cruiserweight, and he proved that he could. I mean, look, Joshua's a tremendously powerful fighter as well in his prime. We've seen him put people down, you know, and we at least know that Fury does go down. He gets back up, he does go down, you know. And Fury can box, and Joshua can box clever as well. I was in Cardiff, almost ringside, to watch him face Sonny Parker when he outpointed him, and he was very good tactically that night, as he was in the replay against Andy Ruiz. But it's getting that combination right that'll be the key against Fury. You know, managing to box him and attack him. I don't think he's going to be able to sit back in the way he did against Usyk at all and get anywhere close to him.
No, well, we were saying off air, Gordon, that we fear for his safety a little bit if he goes by the same tactics.
Yeah, I mean, I was a big fan of Joshua when he first came onto the scene, and he was absolutely brilliant. He is a brilliant boxer, there's no question about that. But the 2 defeats that he has suffered now seems to psychologically shaking him up when he's in the middle, and you cannot be thinking that, you know, going in against Fury, you have to be with a mindset of actually go in there to try and win the fight. I don't think Joshua would believe in himself, although he would portray that he is. You know, he's such a big man, Fury, 19 stone, 6'7". I mean, he's a colossal. Yeah. And I mean, as Fraser just pointed out, his movement is incredible for such a big man. He's light on his feet, he jabs, he can knock you out with either hand. That's the other thing he's got. The Bomber only had the right hand, but Fury had both hands. So if he caught you with one of them with either hand, you were out.
And he really does believe in himself. He
walks in there. And I tell you what, he can sing a song as well after.
I don't think there's anything worse than seeing a man knock you out and then get up to him singing over you as well.
Karaoke.
We should give a little bit of credit to Wilder, shouldn't we? Because, you know, he's always been cast now as this punching merchant with tremendous heart the other night. And you think against any other heavyweight fighter in the world, he probably comes through that. You know? As Gordon said, he was out on his feet. I don't think he won a single round from the 6th onwards.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Because it was Wilder, because he's got that one punch in him, you still never knew it was over until that 11th.
I was actually concerned, really, Fraser, because you said he was out on his feet. He was. And Fury only needed to clip in that once, and it was all over. I was worried for his own safety, and I was wondering whether the referee was going to step in at some time, you know, but he didn't, and he took the full punishment, and fair play to him. He did well to ever get up from that punch after that.
Yeah, and Cliff James getting involved as well. I genuinely don't think that AJ would live with Fury. Fury is just a different class. And you've got to say, based on 2 fights we've seen over the last fortnight, it would be Joshua's got to step up his game as needs.
Joshua needs a comprehensive display against Usyk. He needs to get his belts back to put him back on the road. Otherwise, I think you're in danger of almost an unfulfilled potential in that career.
Yeah, what really worried me with Joshua with Usyk was he didn't use the right hand. He didn't hit the man, you know. He didn't. And you've got to give Usyk credit for that because he boxed very clever.
Mhm.
But Fury's got his, not Fury, Joshua's got his work cut out when he finds music in the rematch. He might not even win that.
It's a rematch he's got to take.
And
Its market value is nothing without nothing, but it drops so dramatically without his belt.
Yeah, definitely.
But whether it's a rematch deep down he wants straight away, I don't know.
No. And then a little bit closer to home, returning to rugby, we opened up the segment talking about rugby, but the Pembrokeshire Vikings were back in action over the weekend, and they're proving to be an excellent advert for mixed ability sports in the county.
Yeah, another big crowd down at Pill Parks, and they played the Swansea Gladiators. I think they won 43-41. Wasn't quite as intense a game as the week before, players swapping sides back and forth, but that's great to see as well. Teams helping each other out, and that's all about getting players on the pitch. And just to see the Facebook posts of players saying, played my second game of rugby or scored my first try, lovely to see. So, yeah, long may it continue for them. They play again on Friday as Gethin put it out in the first hour.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And I'm going to give Pure West Radio a bit of a sports plug here. It's a motorsport plug. Oh, talking of it, we'll go international first. Lewis Hamilton not winning and also not being on pole position. So there's some news for you. His teammates taking the spoils. How do you think that season's going to come?
It's going to be thrilling. It's going down to the wire, isn't it? Only 6 points now between himself and Verstappen. There's not been more than a few points in it for the last few races now. I think for once we're going right down to the final race. Hopefully, great battle.
Yeah, they go to America next, isn't it? And Hamilton's one of his favourite places to drive. It was, I have to laugh a little bit when he was blaming his mechanics and everything for bringing him, change the tyres. Had it worked, it would have been the best thing, but it didn't work. And it's made it very interesting. It's going to be, as Fraser says, a really thrilling finale to the championship.
So tell us about the best motorsport of the weekend.
The best motorsport of the weekend. So Mercedes, I put my hands up for contention because it was the West Wales Karting Paul Sartori Challenge over last week. And it culminated in the final on Friday night. And on the Wednesday on the heats, Pure West Radio submitted a team. And I did all right.
Yeah.
Myself and Toby. So the West Wales Challenge is fantastic. There's 4 per team. And the 4 per team, and it's Le Mans style, 90 minutes of racing, how many laps you can do in 90 minutes. And you've got to do your changes. Someone has to go twice. So Toby went first, so he went last as well. And then we had Martin from the Jazz Box Show and Stephanie Jane, formerly of the Breakfast Show, and yours truly. And I managed to get a lap time of 21.5.
Good stuff.
That's pretty good, mate. Yeah,
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, what was the final position for you guys? What did you do? Because we have a sports team here. We weren't even invited for it.
I know. I did a good job too.
I was busy.
Good job too, because we ended up coming out, unfortunately, last, which was not ideal.
Yeah.
But thank goodness, because I was there on Friday to look over the final. Their lap times were 20.3 seconds.
Oh, pros, mate.
Absolute pros. Won by Ross Cottage in the end.
Ross Cottage, the dentist, Neil Watts.
You got it.
He is a pro, mate. I know you well.
Yeah, so it turns out they're there every Friday as part of the league. So you didn't stand a chance. And in fact, if you caught the beginning of the show, which you can catch up on the podcast tomorrow, where we caught up with Harvey, his son, who was walking home with his trophy. So a little bit of motorsport in Pembrokeshire.
Brilliant.
And really good fun. And over £8,000 raised.
And all for a good cause, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. I'm getting a phone call in, so I'm going to put the next song on and see whether or not we can connect our next guest, because after we have a little bit of Little Mix with Love, we are going to be connecting with Mike Phillips. Sounds a bit posh, doesn't it?
Yeah.